Yo, what is up? It is your boy Zether, back at it again with a what if that surprisingly hasn't even been done before. This being, what if Naruto had Bakugo's quirk? And this is definitely going to be a fun one. As you guys can see from the thumbnail, we're definitely going to be giving Naruto that Bakugo personality, but for the different reasons than cockiness and other things of that sort. With that being said though, guys, I don't want to keep you guys waiting with all my jibber jabber, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so where we're actually going to be starting this tale off is going to be on the day that Naruto's parents die. Of course, we're still going to have the same events that happened in the original canon, with Hiruzen promising to take care of Naruto. But in this version, a couple of things are actually going to be changing. See, in this version, when Naruto actually gets around to the age of 4, and Hiruzen was about to actually send Naruto off to live on his own, one day, Naruto actually showed signs of a KK Genkai. This being explosion. Psych, you guys really thought I was about to give him a KK Genkai? What? Zether? Never, I could not. Anyways, that being said though, Naruto would awaken his quirk. He would be the first human who ever actually ends up developing a quirk early on. And this definitely going to have some impacts on the later series of events. This being said though, after seeing this, Hiruzen would actually wonder if this is some sort of KK Genkai or an ability that he inherited from either Minato or Kushina, but after a little bit of thinking, he would realize that neither of them actually had any sort of KK Genkai or could even give Naruto this trait to begin with. So after a little bit of thinking, Hiruzen would wonder how he even got this trait at all, and he would begin to wonder if Kushina was actually faithful to Minato. But after looking at that hair, he could tell, oh yeah, that's Minato's son. And he would proceed to basically just look at Naruto as he would ask him to repeat that again. Naruto would proceed to basically have his hands create a little bit of explosions, the same pops that Bakugo did when he was a young child. And this would actually cause Hiruzen to begin thinking a little bit, as he would wonder what would happen if he could train this ability a little bit. And this would actually cause Hiruzen to end up still sending Naruto to his old house, which is essentially the same hood neighborhood that he lived in, except this version of Hiruzen is going to be a lot more involved with Naruto's life and not exactly give him that treatment that he did in canon. Instead, he's going to actually live a life more like Sasuke's in terms of him growing up. Of course, your boy Danzo is still going to ruin Naruto's early childhood by revealing to everybody that Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. But in this version, Hiruzen is actually going to be a lot more strict on people with whether people can or cannot harass this young kid because of that. Because a lot of people are actually going to notice early on that Hiruzen actually has a little bit of a liking towards Naruto. And Naruto doesn't actually seem that much like a demon. He seems like your everyday kid. Of course, a little cocky, and that kind of irks the villagers a lot, but doesn't seem that bad. And Hiruzen would basically keep pushing the idea of, dude, he has a beast inside of him, yes, but he's not a beast. So people would slowly start losing that bit to Naruto. Over the years though, Naruto would definitely start to develop a little bit of a superiority complex, seeing that he gets trained by the third Hokage. The Hokage of the entire village, the strongest ninja throughout the 5 nations. This would definitely give Naruto a bit of a big head. And we're just gonna say that at this point he's about 6 years old. At this point, Hiruzen had definitely taught Naruto a little bit about conditioning training, and Naruto would have spent these last couple of years trying to have his explosions grow bigger. In the My Hero Academia world, you can't exactly train your quirk, but since this version of Naruto lives in a society that doesn't know about quirks or has any restrictions, Naruto is able to freely work on his quirk as much as possible. And Hiruzen, after a little bit of, realizing that he can use this without even weaving any hand signs, he would then wonder if this is a KK Genkai at all. And he would then proceed to basically take care of Naruto's training more and more as the years go by. Slowly, by the age of 10, Naruto would have ended up learning how to control his nature, which is actually wind style, and instead of developing any other nature after that, he would actually end up developing fire style. he would end up gaining a little bit of knowledge of both styles, and he would actually have his chakra controlled down by the age of 10. He would, of course, have the ability to walk on trees as well as water at this point. Naruto would be very versatile in terms of his body and his strength. Naruto would be extremely built in this version of events, seeing as he focused a lot on his physical strength and attributes, seeing as he needs a lot of physical strength to be able to control the power that is his quirk. At this point, Naruto would have his explosions at the same level of Season 2 Bakugo, or no, Season 4 Bakugo, at the point where he learned the AP shot and things like that, seeing as there's no restrictions, there's no reason for Naruto not to use his quirk and practice on it. So I believe that this version of Naruto would definitely be around the same level of that version of Bakugo, with chakra boosting his stats, physical strength that surpasses that of Bakugo's, and the cocky attitude to go along with it. What else do you guys need? This version of Naruto will not be no simp for Sakura, and instead we're gonna make him a simp for a different person in the class, somebody who I believe needs a little bit more recognition. See, we're actually going to have a little bit of a flashback to the day where Naruto ended up saving Hinata from the bullies. In this version, Naruto wasn't scared of them or did what we had in canon. Instead, this version of Naruto would have ended up flashing his explosions at the kid and telling them that if they don't back off, they're gonna have to deal with him. As they would say, it's the demon, run, as all the kids would have ran away, and a lot of them would actually end up saying that his powers, he has the demon's influence within him, but of course this is just a quirk. After that, he would look towards Hinata and ask her if she's okay, as Hinata would say, Naruto-kun. Nah, not really, but she would do her usual, Naruto stuff, and we would then see Naruto basically smiling at her with a big bright smile, as she would just be happy. And this is when, one of the Hyuga members would actually see Lady Hinata running around with the supposed demon fox boy, but he wouldn't say anything. He would just say, "Let's go, Hinata," as he would get out of there and Naruto would just be left there. After a couple of years, since this version of Naruto actually isn't the same as we had in canon, Naruto would have actually ended up going up to Hinata in this version on their first day of their intern. Or no, I wouldn't say intern, but I guess you could say their first day of the Ninja Academy. Yes, their first day attending the Ninja Academy. Naruto would have actually ended up going up to Hinata and asking her why that person looked at him so weird when he helped her. And she would begin to say that people just have a lot of rumors about him. And Naruto would say, "Oh, what do you mean rumors?" As she would say, it's nothing. And we would then have Naruto and Hinata basically just sitting in the same spot, as Hinata would blush and be going crazy, but Naruto would be, none the wiser. We'd then have Iruka sensei come into the class, as he would tell them all that they're going to be having a little bit of a training today to see where they all stand, having that first little portion of exam that they have in canon, with the shuriken training, a little exam just to see what their basic understanding of the ninja world is, and their sparring session. As they would go through their normal exam, and Naruto would actually end up acing this completely. He had Hiruzen train him after all, and not only did he train him in his physical stats, he definitely doesn't want a dumb ninja, so this version of Naruto will be extremely intelligent, and he would end up acing the tests. He would say, "I ace all the written exams, all the physical portions," that Bakugo scene. He would do that, and he would then go outside, as he would throw all the shurikens and get them all perfect on the target, as Sasuke would have done the same, but after he did that, he seemed to have struggled a little bit. But after Naruto did it, he seemed to have thought that he could have done even better, as Iruka would have definitely taken note of this, and this one he would then assign the battle that we are all waiting for: Naruto Uzumaki versus Sasuke Uchiha. As they would continue to, perform the little symbols that they do and bow down, as they would look towards each other, and before anything could happen, Naruto would blast off at Sasuke using his explosion straight at Sasuke, as he would throw an explosion straight at Sasuke's face, sending him flying backwards, as Sasuke would hold his hands in front of his face, trying to block the blast, but the blast would have sent him flying, with Naruto then lunging at Sasuke, and he would begin to basically whip out a kunai, as he would begin to basically start trying to slash at Sasuke. as Iruka would say that no weapons are allowed, and not to cause too much damage to each other, as Naruto would throw the kunai into the air, and we would then see Naruto blasting himself up into the air, as he would perform the spin in the air and kick the kunai straight at Sasuke's direction as a form of distraction, as Iruka would say Naruto, and we would then have Naruto saying look, as you would see Sasuke dodging, but right as he does, he would be off balance, and Naruto would come in with an Uzumaki kick straight to the back of Sasuke's head, knocking him clean out. As a bunch of Sasuke's fangirls would immediately look towards Sasuke and say, Naruto, how could you hurt Sasuke? As Naruto would just say, what do you mean hurt Sasuke? We're just having a battle. This is the whole point of it. As everybody would just stick their tongues out at Naruto and proceed to basically, do what normal people would do in the village. As Naruto would say whatever, and he would then walk off away as Iruka would look at the charts and exactly what it is Naruto did. And he would then notice that this kid is unlike any other kid before. He's off the charts in terms of what he can do already, and he sort of reminds him of somebody like Kakashi Uchiha or Kakashi Uchiha. Oh my god, I know I did not just say that. Kakashi Hatake, sorry, and Itachi Uchiha. As we would then have Naruto go through the next couple of years of the academy, continuing to train under Lord Third, and he would end up mastering both of his, affinities in terms of chakras, that being fire and wind, as he would then end up, developing his relationship with Naruto. Oh no, sorry, not with Naruto, but with Hinata a lot earlier than in canon. This version of Naruto and Hinata would have ended up becoming friends earlier on, and in this version, Hinata would have ended up confessing her feeling towards Naruto towards the last month of their academy days, as Naruto would have ended up reciprocating those same exact feelings towards Hinata, seeing as they had ended up spending the last couple of years training together, and they were now, I believe that they were 12 or 13 at that point that they left the academy. I'm not too sure, but yeah, Naruto would have ended up telling her that, and they would have ended up actually establishing a bit of a relationship earlier on than they did in canon, much earlier on than they did in canon. That being said, however, we would then end up covering the next couple of events, which is essentially Naruto going through the last day of the academy, which is creating a shadow clone and things such as that. Naruto would of course go through these events, and he would end up acing everything, as he would be in the back of the class just smiling smugly, as he would have actually ended up creating not one, not two, but 30 shadow clones. Hiruzen, after seeing Naruto's huge chakra supply, would have definitely ended up teaching Naruto the multi-shadow clone jutsu. And Naruto would have ended up learning other jutsus from the Forbidden Scroll that Lord Third would have actually thought that Naruto would definitely be ready for, seeing as this version of Naruto would definitely be a little pampered than the original counterpart, which lived in a very bad situation. This Naruto would have perfect water, he would have way more rent money than he did in canon, and he would definitely have a way different outfit than the one that we have in our, our usual Naruto. We're not going to give him this Naruto drip that he has in the thumbnail just yet. But what Naruto usually is accustomed to wearing is a black tank top, some really comfy joggers that fit pretty well and help him move a little bit, and some black boots that he likes wearing a lot, as well as a little bit of a bandana, I guess you could say. Oh, no, not bandana, but like something that kind of looks like no bandana. Excuse me for that, but no bandana. Naruto would then go after everything and proceed to walk home, as in this version Naruto would basically, by the time that he was actually ended up walking home, he would notice that Mizuki was up to no good, as he would notice that Mizuki would be talking to one of the students who would actually fail the exam, and the student would actually be walking towards the third Hokage mansion, as he would be trying to steal the scroll of sealing. But at this point, Naruto would have actually been inside looking at the scroll himself, as he was trying to sneak in a couple of jutsus, and this is when he would have actually been caught by his attention, a certain jutsu that definitely caught his eye. The name of this jutsu would be the Flying Raijin, and Naruto would definitely end up marking it down. And he would then hear some footsteps coming, as Naruto would hide behind the Lord Third's desks, as he would see the kid walk inside. And right before anything could happen, Naruto would blast at him saying, "What are you doing here?" in that Bakugo voice, and he would say, And the kid would say, I didn't know, Mizuki. And Naruto would say, Mizuki, what are you talking about? As the kid would explain to Naruto what had happened, and he would then understand that Mizuki would have actually ended up setting this kid up to what he had done. As Naruto would say, looks like he's definitely going to have a lot of explaining to do. As he would then end up basically looking towards the kid and telling him to just go home and to train harder if he wants to become a ninja, not to try to cheat. As he would then ask him where he was going to meet Mizuki, and he would explain everything to him. As Naruto would then walk up over there with the scroll in hand, and Mizuki would then see Naruto with the scroll, as he would smile, thinking that this is even better. Now I can have the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, as well as the Forbidden Scroll, as he would smile and have a kunai behind his back. As we would then see Naruto looking towards Mizuki and saying, I got the scroll for you. I'm willing to work for you if you would do a couple of conditions for me. As Mizuki would put his kunai back in his, little pouch, and we would then see Mizuki saying, go on. As Naruto would then explain what his conditions are, and Mizuki would then explain to start laughing abruptly. As we would then see Naruto saying that, so you're laughing at me, huh? I guess we're gonna have to teach him a lesson, right? As one of Naruto's clones would have actually snuck up behind Mizuki, and he would have thrown a full power explosion straight at the back of Mizuki's head, as Mizuki would fall out of the tree. And this is when Naruto would punch Mizuki, uppercutting him straight into the air on some Mortal Kombat stuff. No, not some Mortal Kombat stuff, but some Ken stuff with the flaming fist, as Naruto would have used his explosions to blast Mizuki up even further than the trees, and he would then proceed to grab Mizuki's arm as he smashes him back down, using his explosions to smash Mizuki back down into the ground, in the same way that Bakugo had done to Deku in the Heroes vs. Villains when he smashed him into the ground. He would then end up walking over to Mizuki and asking him why he was trying to do this, as Mizuki would cough at Naruto's foot. And Naruto would then kick Mizuki right in the stomach, telling him to tell him now. As we would then have Mizuki basically saying, I won't tell you anything. As Naruto would say, okay, alright. As he would then grab Mizuki by the hair, and he would then proceed to start smashing Mizuki's head into the ground until Mizuki was nothing but a bloody pulp. And he would then walk off with the scrolls. He would tell Lord Third about what had happened, but he would have been watching from his crystal ball. And he would have ended up telling Naruto that was a little gruesome, don't you think? As Naruto would say that he was trying to betray the village from what it looked like. As Hiruzen would, basically light his cigarette and, grab his head. As he would then begin to say, Naruto, what am I going to do with you? As Naruto would then proceed to say, what are you going to do with me? I'm the greatest ninja around. As Hiruzen would then just begin to basically puff out a little bit of smoke in the air. And we would then have Naruto basically telling him that, asking him what his future team is going to be. As Lord Third would actually tell Naruto that his team's actually going to be Sakura, Sasuke, and himself. As Naruto would say, Sakura? You mean the useless girl who's all over Sasuke? Hiruzen, can you please change that? As, Lord Third would say, I can't, Naruto. And he would say, come on, old man, just help me out this once. I don't want this useless sack of, garbage to be on my team. As we would then have Hiruzen saying, fine. I can only replace one person. As Naruto would say, I want Hinata on my team. As Hiruzen would say, I can't do that, Naruto. I can't. As Naruto would explain that it would probably be best to, have another, dojutsu user on their team. As Naruto would say, you're probably going to have Kakashi be our instructor, aren't you? As Hiruzen would say, looks like you noticed. As Naruto would say, what do you mean looks like I noticed? It was obvious. Who else is fit to train me? As, we would then have Naruto chuckling a little bit. And we would then have Hiruzen basically puffing out some smoke as he says, this kid's gonna be the death of me. As we would then have Naruto going to class the very next day. And he would end up being, chosen the teams. As Naruto would have actually ended up going to get a bite to eat at, the Ichiraku Ramens. And this is when Naruto would be told that it's all in the house. For being their best customer, they're definitely gonna give him this free bowl on them. As Naruto would say, that's awesome. As we would then have Naruto basically thanking Ichiraku, and he would actually leave a little bit of a tip for him, even though he wouldn't pay for the ramen. As he would then walk off, and he would then go back to class, and right on cue, who do we know that comes inside the class? Yep, Kakashi would walk inside saying, sorry guys, I was lost on the path of, as he would look towards Naruto's direction, but right as he does, Naruto would body flicker into the classroom, and Kakashi would tell them all to meet him on top of the roof. As everybody would go up there, they would begin to explain their goals. Hinata would say, my goal is to be Naruto-kun's wife. And no, I'm just kidding. But she would say she wants to become a useful kunoichi, somebody who can become strong and protect Naruto. As Naruto would say that his likes are Hinata getting stronger and training. As he would then begin to explain that what he wants is to become the next Hokage and be able to lead this village to become even stronger than what he already is. He wants to be able to conquer the other lands and be the greatest nation of all time. As Kakashi would say, that's quite a goal, isn't it, Naruto? As, Naruto would say, as he would just do that noise with his mouth and say, yep. As we would then have Kakashi basically, palm his head and just be like, Sasuke would do his, my goal is not a dream, but a reality. Her usual emo boy stuff. As Naruto would, at the end of this, ask Hinata if she wants to come over and, do a little bit of that good old studying. Wait, they're 12 years old at this point. Never mind. Scratch that. I am not condoning this. Anyways, we would then have Naruto basically go through and asking Hinata if she wants to come over. And they'd begin to basically just hang out and do their normal stuff, like training together and stuff. And since Naruto actually trains with Hinata, she would actually be very well more developed than she is in canon. She'd be pretty close to the level of Neji's strength. And Neji would, instead of thinking that Hinata is nothing but a useless heir, he would think that, she's not half bad. As, oh my god, somebody's bass is blasting like crazy. Can you guys hear that? Sheesh. Anyways, that being said though, we would then proceed to basically, wait, I guess you guys can't since there is background noise. Background music, sorry. Anyways, we're then basically just going to skip on over to the day that they basically meet each other at the forest in the morning. Kashi would come in doing his usual excuse of, I'm sorry guys, but the wind, the path of life, as everybody would know that Kakashi is full of it. And this one Kakashi would then proceed to say, well, all right. As he would then proceed to explain to everybody what they're going to be doing today, and they would basically look at each other. They would say, "No, that sounds about right." As they would basically, get ready for what's going to go down, and Kakashi would have explained the bell test, as Naruto would know all about what this whole thing is about. As Naruto immediately, as soon as the rest of the team would go away into hiding, Naruto and Hinata would actually be standing there. As Naruto would say, "Hinata," she would say, "Right, Naruto," as she would begin to rush towards Kakashi, bombarding him with an attacks of the Hyuga style, the gentle fist. Naruto would come in from the back and would create about 10 clones. Pause, I'm wearing socks. As we would then have Naruto basically start to overwhelm Kakashi, and Hinata would actually end up creating about 2 clones of her own, as you'd begin to basically start overwhelming Kakashi. And as this is happening, Sasuke would realize that there's a lot of openings in this. As he would go in there, and he would then proceed to say, "Fire style, fireball no jutsu," as he would blast a huge, wave of a fireball at Kakashi, and Naruto would then jump away and say, "Wind style, wind bullet jutsu," as he would blast it, having the fire style grow into an immense size, as it would engulf Kakashi. But right as it does, Kakashi would substitute with a log, teleporting behind Naruto, as he would then kick Naruto, but Naruto would barely block it with his arm as he sends him back flying, and Naruto would then blast his explosions into the air as he begins to spiral, and he would then say, "Howitzer impact," as he would blast on over to Kakashi, and Kakashi, using nothing but a kunai, would then block Naruto from coming any closer. It would take him a lot of strength, but right as this happens, one of Naruto's clones would have came in from the ground, grabbing Kakashi and dragging him down. As right as this happens, Hinata would have actually ended up hitting Kakashi on one of his chakra points, blocking the entire system down, as Kakashi would have a hard time. And he would then end up awakening his Sharingan, as he would pull up the headband. And right as this happens, Kakashi, Sasuke would have actually been approaching him with a kunai, trying to attack him and rip the bells off. As soon as he saw the Sharingan, he was like, "How did you get that eye?" As he would rush towards Kakashi and say, "How many of them did you slaughter to get that eye?" And we would then have Sasuke basically just thinking that Kakashi killed the Uchihas, or wondering how he got the Sharingan, as we would of course have Kakashi on the back foot, seeing as he doesn't know if he should knock him out or something, but ultimately he would end up chopping Sasuke on the back of the neck, and Sasuke would fall unconscious, as Naruto would rush on in there saying, "Wind style, wind bullet jutsu, as a barrage of them would actually come in out of nowhere, and they would then begin to start bombarding Kakashi, as he would basically do his own jutsu, as he would say water bullet jutsu, as he would shoot a bunch of water bullets at them. And as this is happening, Hinata would have been trying to come in at Kakashi, but Kakashi would have ended up using his kunai to basically overwhelm her, seeing as he has the Sharingan activated, and he would start to mimic Hinata's fighting style, as he would begin to basically land a couple of blows on Hinata, weakening her. And seeing this, Naruto would get enraged, as his eyes would flare up a bit and a little bit of energy would just go off, as Naruto would blast off with this explosion saying a peace shot, as one of the shots would have actually ended up cutting into Kakashi's leg, grazing it just barely, slowing down Kakashi's movements, as Naruto would say, now you've done it, as he would then end up blasting off towards Kakashi's direction, and he would end up basically just using his power and ability to essentially try to overwhelm Kakashi, but this would not be going far too well for him. This is when Naruto would basically say, to hell with this. He would say water dragon jutsu, as a huge water dragon would begin to form. As yes, this is one of the jutsus that Naruto actually ended up learning from the scroll. The water dragon jutsu. At this point, he has 3 of the 5 chakra natures, and Kakashi would have ended up forming his own, overwhelming Naruto. But in that moment, Hinata would have grabbed the bells, and the test would have been over before Kakashi could have even taken down this version of Naruto. At this point, Naruto would be on the ground as he gets up and lunges at Kakashi, as Kakashi would just grab Naruto and say, it's done, holding him in a position where Naruto just has to tap out, and Naruto would say, as he would say, fine. So he would say, next time, I'm gonna win. As Kakashi would say, I'm sure you will, Naruto. And this is when we're actually going to have the entire team be lectured about what it means to be scum on this world. And, you know, Kakashi's usual, if you abandon the mission, you are trash. But if you abandon your teammates, you are worse than scum or whatever. You know, his little thing. But this is when the team would then be announced that they're going to be going on missions. But this is where we're actually going to be leaving everything off, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this part, seeing as I had a lot of fun recording it. And if you guys want to see a lot more of What If Naruto had Bakugo's Quirk, make sure to go down below, hit that like button, let me know what you guys thought down below in the comment section, and subscribe, seeing as it helps to, hit that subscribe button, come on, get notified. If you guys hit that like button, which is actually going to be a goal of 500 likes, I'm going to be dropping part 2 the very next day. With that being said though, guys, you guys all know the drill. You guys know how your boy be rocking. But, as always, it has been your boy Zether, and I am out. Peace.